We are off to the race for president. This is a new year. It's a great time. It's my second cast being on live this year. This is live, by the way, and I'm actually joined with Fred, who I'll be getting on in just a moment.
How you doing out there, everybody?
That's right. Awesome. And they can
God
hear you
bless
just
all you.
fine. Awesome. And so we'll be going over some different things, what Fred, some of his opinions and ideas, which I'm always eager to hear about. And as this campaign progresses, we'll be going to your hometowns as well. So be sure to go to us at HappyHealerForPresident.com. Send me your information, and we will reach back to you, and we'll have you on board and do interviews with you as well. So, Fred.
Yeah.
How's it going, my brother?
Oh, it's going good, brother. How you doing today?
Man,
God bless you.
Just wonderful.
Yeah, it's a great day today.
It is, man. And, you know, I met you yesterday. And I was fascinated because I heard you speaking with the other gentleman, and he said, you have a good radio voice, you know?
Yeah.
And then we got to talking, man.
Yeah, we did a lot of talking. And
today's Sunday. And that's sort of how God puts people in our lives, I feel. Today's a great day to say that.
Yes, it is.
And, you know,
He opens the doors, you know.
Does.
He gives you the avenues. He's not going to give you money or things like that, but he'll show you the way.
Right, exactly.
You just got to follow it.
A lot of people, they want that instant gratification, Fred. They don't want to wait for what's their turn.
Well, they're so bound and determined and eager that they hyperextend themselves into a frenzy for it.
Right.
And they forget what they've got to do to get it.
Right.
You know, there's sort of a not only a welcoming, but a bounty. You know, you got to give to get. I'd rather give than receive. I don't know about you, you know.
Yeah.
But I like to give. I want to help people. I want to bring them along and know that they're loved and cared for as human beings. You know, there's nothing separating with me, a race, creed, and color. I don't see that. I see human beings. I haven't met an alien yet, and I don't know if you have.
Nope. I love that.
Know, I think that all people have a right to a life and a better way. We don't need to go into things of destruction and talk about killing and maiming and bombs. They're not going to be the way.
So, Fred, just a little bit about you. You are from Daytona Beach, Florida.
That's right.
And this is Fred Russo, by the way.
Hi, how y'all doing?
And you have lived in Daytona Beach your whole life. Can you just give us a little background information?
Well, you know, I was born in the early 60s, 62. My father was in World War II, the Battle of the Bulge.
Oh, yeah. The greatest generation.
Yeah, you know, he went through a lot. He was born in Brooklyn, New York. My mother was from Harlan County, Kentucky. I don't know if you're feeling familiar with the Hatfields and McCoys.
Oh, that's awesome.
But she was there for that and grew up during that era,
right.
You know, and met my father. They got married. My dad went to war. Of course, you know, the war ended in Germany. We did what we had to do.
Which theater did he fight in?
I'm sorry?
Which theater did he fight in? Was he in the Pacific or in the Eastern or the Western?
The Western.
Okay.
He was over in Germany. You
know? Okay, so he was in.
He was on the front lines.
Eastern,
he was in the infantry, you know. Plus, he was a marksman. He got the Purple Heart. My dad was a tremendous man. You know, he had 3 sons. I have an older brother out there, Rick. I don't know. I think he's watching the Happy Healers. He's also an advocate for you.
Oh, that's great.
Along with Gary and everybody from Gary's Not Emergency Transportation, a great people. I hope you're going to get to meet them. Maybe they can have their views.
Yeah.
You can have them on the show. They're awesome people. Awesome. They're with the Lord all the way, you know. And I'm
that's
sure they're
great.
going to be with you in the campaign, you know, that you're going to run, and we're going to get you to the top there and get you in there so we can we do the things that we believe the United States needs.
Right.
You know, to be able to keep going in the right directions. Not be halted by things of bad and evil, or be represented to, or have to use that and go into that with another place and feel like that's our only way of getting people to listen to us is by stepping into battles all over the world.
Right.
And have bases and people in all different countries spending millions and millions of dollars when we don't need a base here and there and over there. Bring everybody home. close off the borders, so to speak, allow people here, screen them well, educate them that, hey, you can come here, but you can't come here and hate.
Right, and I like you sharing your views with me because, the truth is I have a lot of my own views.
Right.
And what I'd like to do is also give you an opportunity to ask questions of me, just like I do of you.
Right.
This way here, it gives the people, when they're here with me in this great opportunity, really, because I call myself the people's candidate.
That's right.
I am from the people.
That's right.
I'm running of the people.
And for the people.
And for the people.
That's right.
And if I have any chance to just keep that message going strong, it's going to be with the people.
That's right.
And so I'm completely cognizant of that. So there's a point where I just want to help people understand that, and for me to understand,
so
that the type of people that are dealing with so many issues, they're just like them.
Right. That's right. So where do you see yourself, say, or want to be this time in a year from now? Where would you?
At the White House, of course.
Right. That's right.
And at least getting ready to go there, and it's going to be the ideas and the principles, the things this campaign stands for.
Okay.
And I've got a very strong campaign platform that's based on common sense that really helps people understand a different way of thinking.
That's right.
I don't think like how everybody else thinks. I'm a very independent-minded person in terms of the way I process things, because I've come to conclusions based off of the hell that we all see, man.
That's right.
And I know how real it is.
That's right.
And I've lived that hell.
That's
and
right.
I've gone through that death and came back again. Right. And we know methadone, the drug epidemic, the opiate epidemic in this country, and what it has done to people, it is unfathomable.
It's destroyed families, lives.
My brother's wife, she passed away.
I'm sorry.
My brother, he also passed away, all from the drug epidemic. My mother, she passed away, I call it from greed care, because we don't take care of our people.
Right.
That's why I'm running.
Right.
And that we need love in this country.
That's right.
That we need to be able to love and do things with love and care. Love is about, really to me, love is God.
That's right.
Together with truth.
That's right.
And that's a universal truth. That's something Christians agree with.
Of course
that
it is.
That love and truth is God.
Do you think right now that the hate that's going on is a disease that's killing
of the devil
hearts and the people, and people are not realizing it's coming from the devil?
Yeah.
And he's trying to motivate himself to overpower who we know.
Through that power.
That's right.
Through the power of the devil. He works with that cunning, with that lying force.
Right.
And so...
And he's very smart and intelligent too.
Absolutely.
And he's well versed in trying to battle and overcome.
With every good lie, there is always that good truth with it as well. That's what the devil uses in order to trick people.
That's right.
And, I have some strong opinions in this way, and I tell people, you don't have to agree with me on my theological views in order to agree with me on what is right to do for America.
Right.
But I can tell you this. My theological views, love and truth, the essence of God, it's nothing to be feared. That actually brings us closer to what is right to do, not what is wrong to do,
And it starts to
but
become
what
natural.
is right to do.
Don't you believe that? It starts to become natural the more you believe it.
Yeah,
The more you
yeah.
get involved
You
in
know, and some people, they say, oh, well, I can't do that. Love for me, it's fake.
If you don't believe in it,
if you don't believe in it, that's absolutely
is
right.
fake.
Then it is
you're
fake.
just using it as a tool.
Right. And that's what greed hell does. And I talk about the very scary nature of greed hell. And that greed hell...
Money does that.
greed hell in its essence is how we're all operating off of the system these days. Everything's about money first. Humanity has no value over money. And it should be that humanity is above money in value. You talk about it. Yeah, see, you're so, I can tell you're lighting up from that. You agree.
It's so strong when you talk about it. We know that it'll pit family member against family member. It'll pit good against bad. It'll let bad overcome good. And consume
money is
somebody
just so
and
awful.
Just,
that greed is so strong.
And go to great lengths to defy their family, defy Jesus Christ.
I know.
For money.
Unbelievable. The preacher these days, before you can have your soul saved, you need to do the donation.
Yeah, you got what is it called? There's these guys on TV that come up and tell you, hey, make a pledge. Pledge today 100 times, and it'll come back to you 15,000 fold.
That's a lie. And the devil's a liar.
And they don't know that this guy is bound by the devil and following him.
And they're turning people away from God. So I say that's not the selfless nature of love at work. The selfless nature of love will give you all the value it has to give, and then it would trust that you would love it back enough to do the same.
That's right.
That's what the selfless nature of love does.
That's right.
It doesn't worry about what it can get back. It worries about what it can give. It worries about who needs.
That's right.
And it solves those needs. It cares.
Yeah.
Greed, on the other hand, is such a cunning lying force, and of course we know it to be the devil because of that.
Of course.
It will take from that power of love, and it will promise and say it loves, but it's only emulating love. It's fake. It's what the guys said.
That's right.
And that actually, they're just after the money. They're just after some endeavor that they're wishing to.
And all the things you see them with, the planes, the touring buses, the fancy $15 billion house with 45 rooms in it.
Right.
We've seen so many guys on TV get caught doing this. They bring people out and they pay them $50, $100 and say, listen, I want you to just come out. I'm going to heal you. You're going to walk. And, you're wearing a wheelchair.
It's all a put on.
And how could you go and shave and look at yourself the next morning and feel like you're doing some good for people when you're out there just telling them a bald-faced lie to get what? Their money out of their pocket, into your pocket, so you can have more toys. And, that bumper sticker used to go around, what was it? The one with the most toys wins?
Yeah,
it's such a lie.
It is a lie. I love this guy.
Yeah, it's bad.
It's such a lie.
I would put that on my foot and wear it, let alone my back of my car.
Yeah, and
you can't take them things with you.
Fred, that's it.
You don't need them.
Americans.
Give it away, and it'll come back to you.
That's
it's better to give than receive.
Yes. I think Americans get it.
Yeah, I think they do too. I just don't think I think a lot of people are scared to express themselves
or
tell another American for fear that what people might think if they say, hey, you know what, walk up to somebody, hey, I love you.
Right.
I love you as a human being.
When I came out strong. I came out as the HappyHealer because I love, and that's why I say that boldly. That's my starting point. Anything I do from there, now you know why I do it. I told you to start with.
That's
because I love. And so I'm almost a dork in that, because I say when you're free to be who you are and what you choose to be and what you want to be, what you yearn to be, what you have passion to do,
you've made it.
Then you're happy.
Everything from there on is all just, I would say, the cream of the creme. Once you've made it past that, and because the happiness and the overwhelming love that you're experiencing, you're starting to spread it.
Right.
And once you start getting people to come, it's like the man said, he's up there waiting. The flock's coming home. He's coming back. They're coming back. And the more Jesus Christ sees that, he loves it, because that's what he yearns for.
Right.
He wants the flock to come home.
Yes.
1 by 1, 2 by 2, 10 by 10, 1,000,000 by 1,000,000.
Yes.
The more
he does his work through us. We have to realize that love, that's a job for us, and that we have to be warriors for love.
And that's what he expects.
Yes. And some people, they say, oh, well, I'm just going to do my greed hell, and one day the God will come do all the work.
Yeah.
And I say, that's wrong.
It's not going to happen for you.
You've got to do your part.
God
has been depending on you, and you didn't show up for that. Instead, you showed up for the devil. You're doing greed hell at a time when you were supposed to be doing love. And I have friends who say that their money is their essence, not their heart, not their soul.
I feel bad for them.
Can you imagine that they're so tricked by this greed, hell we see, and that they work for so long for a life worth living, I say.
That's right.
And that in the end, for them, what that means, it's the money in the bank for them, and that's sad.
And it is. And I mean...
Because that money in the bank's no promise to be there, buddy.
No.
Fred, that could be gone overnight. And then where's your value gone?
I mean, how many people
Look at
have we seen
Enron
go from trillions to zeros? From heroes to zeros.
Right?
It happens. And the more you push, sometimes the karma and what you put out is what's going to come back. But how is it going to come? How do you want it to come back? Do you want it to come back in a good way, or do you want it to just knock you down? Because if you keep it up and keep pushing, I firmly believe that there's somebody out there that evens the playing field. You might laugh
it's that karma's so strong.
Be laughing. Oh, I got it. I got the money. I'm doing so good. And you're in your little greed house thinking about who else you could be next to get, and you don't know. They don't think about. You know what they do? Why is this happening to me? And they don't think, well, maybe it was because of all the bad things I thought I was going to get away with. That this is happening to me. I was finally catching up. And who's catching up with you? Who is it? Is it the devil? No. It isn't him catching up with you and trying to guide you in the right direction by saying, hey, enough's enough, wake up. I know what you're up to.
That's right.
When are you gonna? I'm here for you, but you're not here for me. I'm not going to be there for you forever.
Right. And that's the thing. I think that people, they expect that, God is there whenever you're ready. But in my view, and I think that what people do is they expect God to do the work for them, and that they can just be allowed to do their greed hell, and that they're allowed to say, well, we were imperfect, so no matter what, I have an out with God, and that while here on earth, I have the in with the devil.
Right.
And you can't be in with the devil and in with God at the same time.
It just won't work.
It's incompatible.
No.
That's why I say you can be for love and truth, or you can be for that greed hell.
That's right.
And now there's another truth, Fred. You can have love and have more.
That's right.
You can have more in love. You could, like this greed that keeps people starving and dying everywhere in front of us, that's hell. That's right. It's scarcity. Those people that they're dying from scarcity. And so we live in either greed, scarcity, or God's love and truth and abundance.
That's right. And I firmly believe if you don't start shedding, if I thought alcoholism,
that's
drug
a bad
addiction,
one.
for a long time.
And we'll talk about that.
I firmly believe if you don't try to start shedding things,
right,
the bad things in your life, that you're not showing that you do care about yourself. So why can he care about you if you don't care about yourself? And show him, look, I did it. I got rid of this. Okay, there's one bad thing gone in my life. There, bye-bye alcohol. Now bye-bye to the cocaine.
Right.
And I did it. I didn't have to thank the Lord. I didn't have to go into a charter house, a 30-day program that cost $30,000. You know what I did? I walked into a church and got on my knees, and I looked up at the picture of him, and I said, please.
It's the hardest thing you could ever go through.
Please, help me. I'm weak, and I need your help to get away from this. And he got me away from it.
And you were empowered.
And I started moving up instead of backwards.
Right. And folks, many of you know about my own history. I don't hide that. No. I share that with Fred.
That's right.
And that we actually met at the methadone clinic.
That's
There's great people there. There's also a lot of people that are just dealing with this, and they're not quite far as along as me or Fred.
But they're going to get there.
And hopefully they do. Just a couple of days ago, or I heard, it was yesterday actually, I heard that somebody had died because they were getting off the bus, and I don't know, they got hit by a car. Actually, 2 people. Did you hear about that?
I heard about the one that got, they were making them park over here. Across the street from the clinic.
Right.
And they were walking across the street, a lady,
Yeah.
that got killed. She was DOA.
Right. So I just say, the answers to that they have us going through, and I don't know if you share this opinion, but
of course I do.
I think that they're causing people that, like, for example, you and I, Fred, I've been going here for long enough to see what the problem is.
That's right.
And I came from a doctor, but if it wasn't for my experience here, I wouldn't know about all this.
That's right.
I lost my doctor. There was no reason why I should have ended up at a methadone clinic. I had just lost my doctor.
Okay.
What I needed was another doctor.
That's right.
And I was taking methadone from my doctor. He was prescribing me methadone.
Understandable.
So when I lost him, it was just an easy, the next logical thing to do to get my medication. At the time, I didn't have, and they do greed care. They don't do health care, love care, any of that.
No.
They do greed care. They're about the money first. And it takes $500 to get a paying doctor.
That's right.
And so I didn't have the money for that. And besides that, you spend that $500 and then they say, oh, we can't help you.
That's right.
And then you got to spend another $500 and another $500
to find out that you're not going anywhere.
And that's how you end up in these places.
That's right.
And so we have a serious epidemic in our
Very
country.
serious.
And I'm committed as a presidential candidate to address the opiate crisis that has taken my brother's life, that has taken my sister-in-law's life, that has knocked at the very door of your HappyHealer's life. And that is a promise. Because if we do anything less than that, we're going to have death on the streets tolling up just like we get with all of the condescending candidates.
That's right.
The ones who that are in your face and running now, the ones who that are polling and they have no reason to be.
That's right.
And those candidates, they have no clue of what's happening because they never experienced it. But when you're up close and personal and you see real people and you see them dying, well, then you care and you know why you care.
Amen to that. Hey, let me just ask you something. In short, what did you think when you heard that it was a local, I won't mention it by name, that they actually went and told the people, listen, you can't park here. You're going to park over there in the Bravo shopping center and walk across the street to the clinic to get your medication, and told them if they see him over there, they're going to take him to jail. And what would they do? What would they benefit by doing that to him? And see what it caused? It caused a person to walk across the street
right.
and not see, or the car didn't see them, and now
That's
they're
a good
not
point,
here.
Fred.
They're not here anymore.
Right. And this is happening all the time.
And you know what? That violated their HIPAA rights in every way. And those are federally given needs.
Right.
Federally given rights to be on that property, to get the medication, to kill the opiate crisis that's killing your family and other families. Right. And you too. That's why you were there, to get recovery and treatment. And they're telling you, no, go across. It's like they might as well just come out and tell you, hey, listen, you're a piece of garbage.
Right.
We don't want you here.
Right.
But we can't get you out, but we can make it harder on you instead of making it easier on you.
Here's our job in all of this. Our job is to shut our mouths and to die.
That's right.
And that's it. Because the one time you do anything away from that, you start hitting conflict.
That's
and
right.
when you go back to shutting your mouth and taking it, then you go to death. And so that's what they expect.
It's just like giving in.
And it's greed care that's doing this to all of us. They don't actually care. And so you said, do I think it's right that they sent the people across the street? And no, I don't. And what's causing it is because that they're looking at us as subhuman beings.
That's right.
Not as actual human beings.
Below them, not above them or equal to them.
That's why it's hard and it's almost impossible to solve this issue.
That's right.
Because they're not giving respect to the people who are actually dealing with the disease.
And you would think they would say, wow, these people are strong enough and motivated enough to come out and admit they have a problem and they want help. But what are we going to do?
Death on the streets. I say it all the time, and it's unacceptable. And people, they deal with it. They say it's okay. Every time they say that greed is okay, they're saying that's okay.
And you know what's even sadder is when you see somebody that it hits them so hard, they give up and say, you know what? I can't get no help. I'm stuck on the opiate dependency, and they go into a corner somewhere and they say, I'm going to give in, and they do an overdose purposely because they feel like they're beat. They're finally browbeat enough, beat down enough. They can't reach no further. They don't know where to turn. They're out of family. Their family's all gone, died, passed away, whatever, or rejected them in such a way.
They're forgotten. And you know, folks, it's the worst thing in the world. These forgotten people, they're so effectively and so efficiently forgotten that when finally there is some kind of accountability against Purdue Pharma, who are they paying? They're paying the states for the very act of having to deal with these subhuman beings. But the actual victims themselves, that is the people doing the dying, they get nothing. They get more death.
That's right. You know, and then you got the people that want to put on the suit and tie, go out and say that they're advocating for people, their help and everything, but they won't go ahead. They've already stepped out. They've got the one leg out there, but they won't put the other one out there and go, the reason I'm advocating is because behind closed doors, I'm also an opiate addict. Recovering.
So many people dealing with it.
Hide it in the closet. And you know what that does? That just keeps eating at the core of the heart and taking away, because you got to keep thinking about it. You just wake up, it's still there. It's not going away. You can drink and get drunk. You know, when the hangover is there, it's still there. The alcoholism. And the dependency on the opiate is still there. It isn't going away.
No.
And they keep looking left, right, forward, behind them for where is the help? Where is it going to happen? What am I going to get out of this?
Right, that's it. And I say people who that when they die on the streets, I'm not saying just drug addicts, but even just lovers.
That's right.
Who don't do greed, they have a hard time doing that greed hell. They would rather just work together with a better system. And oftentimes when you do that, you find yourself losing everything.
Well, because people get caught up in the system.
Yeah.
And left behind and left alone.
It's not, and it's not okay, I say, because that could even happen to your happy healer. Here I am, a lover. I sold my home to do this because I care. Ultimately, I'll never stop caring. Those are the kinds of people who should be running, but then they don't run. So I say, put love power, so then you run. And ultimately speaking, these are the people also that put themselves out 100% completely. And so that's because that they were always in it 100%. That they were always prepared to make that sacrifice. And that was for them, ultimately, a life worth living. Because that's what all that death that we were talking about a moment ago, you tend to get to a point where you say, why am I here? What is the point to all of this? It can't be that death they're dishing out. No. So then it's got to be the love.
That's right.
And so you go after it hard, and you know that when you're doing it, why you're doing the greed hell, they don't even know why somebody told them to. Yeah. It's insanity.
It is, you know, and then you got somebody great that wants to try to neutralize or penetrate the problem and get to the core of it and help everybody, not just one, not just two, everybody that's
matters.
Involved.
Yeah.
Everybody matters.
People matter.
Everybody.
That's the difference between our campaign and the others.
People that are going to reach out into Happy Healers and propel Happy Healers into office they can do their job and be there without the help you can deserve to be a better human being, because you matter.
That's right.
Everyone matters.
We all matter. Just like my good friend Fred, you matter in this life. That people like that, things change. People realize, hey, I have purpose. That's the same purpose we get when we have faith.
You know,
because when you have faith, you know that you have a creator. And anybody who knows that they have a creator knows that they matter.
I've had somebody say, hey, why do you go up to people you don't even know and talk to them? And I say, why? Because I'm no different than them. I'm this. They're my people. You know, we're the same type of folks. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
No, you're okay. Sir. No problem.
Anyway, you know, and my friend said, well, what are you going to meet to run into some crazy person or something? I said, well, if that's what is intended, then it's intended, but I'm not gonna be arrogant and turn my head if somebody says hi. If I see somebody on the side of the road and they need help, I'm gonna pull over.
Yes.
You know, I had a friend a little while back. Mother was on the way from Daytona to the airport in Orlando to get family for Thanksgiving. He calls me up. He says, where are you at? I says, what's going on? How you doing? I won't use their name while we're live. Anyway, this person says, I can't move my legs and I can't move my arms and I'm up against the stairs. So I'm not that person and they have nobody else. Big man.
Wow.
Wheels. I finally get him up and walking around outside. So I bring him back in. I'm starting to get more confidence that he's going to be okay. But then he goes down again. I says to him, I know you called and the ambulance was here this morning.
Right.
But I'm not leaving to go to my brother for Thanksgiving. I love you.
Yes.
Like I love my brother, but in a different way. I hope you understand, bro. Route to Rick Russo, my older brother. God bless him. You know, he means everything in the world to me. Without my brother, I wouldn't be here. I said, listen, I can't leave you like this. I'm concerned something's wrong. I'm calling 911. I'm calling an ambulance. You're going to the hospital. Please, no, don't do it, please. I did it.
Right.
I get a call 4 hours later. This gentleman says, you know, I don't know what to do because I said, why? He says, I don't know where to start because they told me if 20 more minutes would have expired, I would have died. He had 0% potassium, and that's what was causing all the limbs to go where they didn't work. He was going to die 20 minutes away from death. And then he says, you don't. I did it because I love you.
That's it. That's reason enough.
That's all.
That's great.
That's all. I don't need money. I don't need drugs. I don't need anything from you. You don't owe me nothing. And
this is what you get for
that.
being a human being and falling in the path of Fred.
You know, I'm not going to stand idly by. And I could have left. And what would I have done? Well, how would I have felt about myself if I would have opened the paper the next day and seen him in the obituaries?
And that's it. That's how it goes when people turn their head. So many times you turn your head and then turned your head from, and then you look again, and it's something that you could have...
Over something that, well, what was it, more important? Or you didn't have time? Or you just didn't think you were too good to do that?
Right.
Or it wasn't your problem. He's not your family member.
The various...
He's not blood relative of yours. So what does he matter?
The kind of thinking that'll get us all killed.
That's right.
Because that right there, think about for the children. I say go back to the children when you start thinking like that, because the children are going to be growing up in this world you're creating for them.
We need to create a better world for them to grow up in and take care of it. When your presidency's over and you retire and you leave office, you want somebody there that grew up and said, I followed him and I want to be this man.
We have to have a special world.
Yeah,
we have to realize how special we are.
Yeah.
And that's the part that we're giving up to this greed hell.
Yeah.
This money that has no value, really, that has no thought. It can't think. It can't feel. I can feel and I can love you. The money, it can't.
It can't. It can buy you happiness for a little while, maybe.
And then if you've come around, you know, you start realizing even a lot of that
it doesn't buy nothing.
Right.
It can buy you material things, and material things are not going to make you happy forever.
No.
You're going to have you're going to hide that.
You're right.
You might tell people, "Oh, I'm happy, man. I'm rich. I can go get on my jet and fly to Paris, Rome." But in the back of their mind, they sit somewhere and go, "Man, I wish I was really like that guy walking down the street there."
That's right.
He looks
free.
Like he's really happy. He's free. He doesn't have no problems.
You know,
the money. It's sad. It really is. You know, I'd like to see what it's going to be like when currency is not needed.
Yeah.
Or what it would have been like if we didn't ever have currency. It would have been a whole different ball game.
That's that, you know, and I've thought about that, and I'm not even necessarily against, you know, money.
Right.
It's a tool.
Of course.
And if we use it as a tool like as it's meant to be, and that we're taking care of people first.
That's right.
And that people really do matter.
That's right.
Because, you know, look at you, man. I see into your eyes. I know that there's light. That's such a gift. You see it nowhere else in nature.
You don't want to give up that
gift. It's just so beautiful.
It is
in that light. And you can't even duplicate
and everybody
it. It's
deserves
just
it,
a special, magical
gift. Money can't
gift.
buy it.
You can't buy that with money.
Money
people can't. And you know, that's the thing that worries me these days is people don't move for love. They move for love, but not like they do for that money.
No.
And that when you see them making the choice between love and money, they're going to get them out of their houses because they want to be lazy. They won't move for love, move for money.
Of course.
And that's the part that is just
sad.
Unbelievable. You know, when you start living like that, Fred, you can't find anything that is worth doing.
No.
Because every time you go back to this, there's nothing worth value in having an experience that's fun because it was never you that possessed that value.
That's right.
It was the money. So that if you really wanted to be an efficient, good human being in the world of greed hell, then what you do is you call your job, you see if they have overtime hours. Because then you'll be working for money and that you wouldn't be putting that time towards, say, a passion.
That's right.
Which is by the way, where we all should be. And that if we were free to live our passions, it turns out our passions are awesome ones. They're love, man.
That's right.
And they're taking care of other people, and that we're taking care of ourselves when we do that. So being in that greed hell, it leaves us no choice but that greed hell.
Yeah.
And it's what's taking away from us all of that which we fail to see. And so
It's
when I say
Satan's
it's
way.
cunning, yes, and they can't even see what's been taken. So
No.
the actual loves, giving, free willing, loving power,
That's right.
abundance, where we have, and where love promises to the cause of happiness and delivers.
That's
It
right,
carries
it
an
does.
answer for everyone.
And it can
doesn't
overpower
forget.
money by all means.
Oh, it's the power that makes everything.
That's right.
Including money. It makes all things. And then you have greed, which is impotent in the world of power at all.
That's right.
And but here's the difference, and you know the
Deceiving.
differences between the powers. Love, it does things just simply because it cares. Whereas greed, it demands.
That's right.
It has to make demands. It has to push hard, and when it doesn't win there, it creates war.
That's right.
And it's never going to just do love. That don't work.
No.
It emulates love, but that's a lie. See, it could pretend to love so that in that it could take from
consumes-
love. That's why we have to be so careful about that cunning hell greed
That's
that
right.
only knows the value of a dollar bill.
That's right.
And like my friend says, his value comes in the essence of the money represented in his bank. That's the representative nature of his lifetime, having worked all that time. I said, really? That's scary.
That
And
is scary.
if you live like that, I don't care if you're a multi-billionaire,
That's right.
you lose your value and purpose. The moment all that money's gone, you have nothing.
That's right.
And that is a lie, actually. More than
I've
anything,
seen
it's a
it
lie.
happen to, I don't want to put anybody's name out there on the show, but I know you have, and I have. We've seen it happen to people where they're living a lap of luxury, carrying. Talking about musicians, probably everybody would be able to pick out the person I'm talking about. They had $1 trillion house, a subdivision up in Georgia where Oprah lived. Christina Aguilera, I think, had a home there. A lot of these upper echelon people, and this performer was great, but he thought so much. He brought 300 people and traveled all over to do his music. And you know what
Right.
they did?
What?
They traveled and loved the partying and the free
Yeah.
money and the free way.
They weren't about the
But
passion.
this is the
No.
point. When he fell and
Right.
all his money was
All
gone,
disappeared. They're all
they
gone.
were gone.
Yeah.
Why? Because the money was gone.
That's right.
They didn't need him anymore.
They used the money to buy those friends, and then that those friends were actually buyable.
That's
and
right.
then that
They
when
put a
the
price on their life and love.
right, and so it's not sort of like, for example, if it is an example to serve God and to serve love, I would say, hey, my friend, you've got all this ability. Imagine if you got into this hell. You could use all this capability to build so much value in your own person and in others, unlike that hell greed.
Could you imagine, being in a home that's worth $15 million, and all of a sudden there's a knock at the door, and not only are they ushering
I
you
know.
out, but they're taking your pictures off the wall,
I know.
your jewelry out of your jewelry box, and repossessing everything. And the last thing to go is the
friends.
Lamborghini out
And the
front.
and the
Well,
Lamborghini.
the friends,
Yeah,
of course, they go.
Yeah, they go.
They're
Yeah.
following the money. What'd you say? You're broke? Hey, man, I'll be back in a little while. I got to go get some cigarettes.
Right.
They're gone. Bye-bye. Hey, out the door they go. They got repossessed along with the house, the
Right.
car, and the money.
It's sad. And people, then the next thing is they're ready for suicide because they
Yeah.
put all their.
Well, they don't want to be seen, and they don't have. They can't tell the other rich people they hung out with. Guess what? I'm broke. I don't have a dime.
I don't
Can you
know
help
that.
me?
You see, that's the beautiful thing about me and also being a happy healer is
That's right.
we don't know that hell. That's not
I don't want to see that. I don't want to live that.
Yeah.
I'd rather be broke.
Right, and that it's not, the point is not about suffering and brokedom. The point is about having values that you're living by, virtues that you hold dear, and that you're willing to take a fall because you realize true heroism isn't defined by those who fought but didn't fall. It's defined by those who fought,
That's
yes,
right.
and then that they fell, but that they rose again.
That's right.
And that through the power
They
of
can
love
pick
and that they
themselves
can
up and
keep
go
going.
forward again.
Yeah. And
They were
so
strong.
they built that value. So when they get any affluency in life, they got money, this or that, they're always thinking back to that which actually gives true happiness.
That's right.
Because there's something to be said. There's fun in toys.
Of course.
I have my fun in my toys.
Mhm.
I like I have my drones and I'm really good at them.
Yeah, there's nothing knowledge is from behind them.
Is that I've been doing this for so long, and so what it does to my passions is it makes them have a purpose even better, because I'm helping people with them. And now here's what people do with their passions in greed hell. They actually use their money first,
Exactly.
and then the money kills the passion.
Yeah,
and so
it eats away at it.
That's everything the devil touches, it kills.
That's right.
And that's how you know what that
And
is.
that makes him happy.
Yes.
Because that means he's got destroyed one more life.
Right.
And that's his ultimate goal, is to get more and
Yeah.
more, the reel them in.
Right.
Bring them in.
And it's all a lie. They're just running to it. It's so
and,
shocking.
And it's sad. It's sad.
Right.
It takes something very traumatic or very critical in their life or crucial to turn them around and go, wait a minute.
Right.
Oh no.
The Happy Healers candidacy is one of them.
Right.
Because I know one thing is for sure, that I'm always going to be speaking the truth, and that you matter enough to hear the truth. In that some of the things I say, they say I sound like a preacher sometimes. And I just say, well, that's my passion for love coming out.
That's right.
But and I don't mind if I'm speaking to God's goals. That's what we should all be doing.
Of course.
That's love. But that it turns out for all of us, that's a great thing, because it's only doing great things for us. And it's the right things to do. It's not the things that don't have hope of giving back.
That's right.
It's things that actually have real hope of giving back.
Amen.
The kind of thing that stays with people. It doesn't just...
That's right.
Yeah.
I agree with you 100%.
Unbelievable the things that we witness, Fred.
Yeah, it is.
And that we bounce back from in this life.
Well, I think humans are resilient. We'll live on. We'll make it through it. The strong, even the weak. I don't like to say anybody's weak. I mean, we have our weak points. We have our weak times. You might be sick. You might have it. All humans have the capability.
That's right.
Mind, soul, spirit, and grabbing themselves without anybody's help and saying, you know what, I didn't need anybody but him,
right,
my higher power, to move forward and make a better life for myself. I did use money. Yes, of course I needed it to pay bills,
right,
to fuel my vehicle,
yeah,
to eat. But
money itself is a great thing if you can use it as a tool. If you
control.
I'm good with even the reward system. People think capitalism is just that's greed is capitalism, the same thing. Mm-hmm. No, there is a reward system, and you can't shock people into change.
That's right.
There's a way to get there. And that ultimately speaking, if you're getting the main thing right, and that's that people matter most, and that you put it into the laws and you define clearly what that means,
right,
that because people matters, we'll no longer tolerate things like people dying on the streets, that lone soul that's waiting for somebody to show up because for so long they've been waiting, and that nobody ever showed up and then they died. We won't let that happen in a world where people matter.
Let me ask you this: what do you think of socialism?
That's what I'm saying is we got to take care of people. Mm-hmm. So we've got to feed people. They got to have an income for all. Because before you can even live your dreams, what if your dream is to be a monk? All you desire to do in this whole life is just to serve other people with love, to show them enlightenment.
That's awesome.
You're not free to do that in America. If you are an American citizen, before you can realize that beautiful truth, you have to first work 40 to 80 hours a week to realize your sustenance. That's to say your roof over your head and food in your mouth. And until you do that, you can't do anything else. But then don't worry. After you work your 80-hour work week, and that's not including going to and from work, then you can start working on being a monk if you have any energy left at all.
That's
after
right.
greed hell was done with you.
Yep.
And so that's the average American's hell. They have these ambitions. They know that we live in the richest country. Does American exceptionalism mean if there is absolutely nothing exceptional about being an American when we can be exceptional? That's
right.
in vain. If we can do better for people. So I start with that, an income for all. People have to have the ability to live out their passions. Not only will we get lazy, as it turns out, but that they'll be working harder than ever for their passions, versus in slavery,
Amen.
they were just working for the man. Then we have healthcare, because we can't have people dying on the streets again, and that people matter, and that they have purpose and value. And so that when you write it into the law that people matter, that's what it looks like, that you're actually putting laws in place, and you're saying we're doing this because humanity ultimately matters more than money.
That's
and we start young. We educate people because they matter. We educate and we teach them, and we have camaraderie. We have institutions of higher learning. We have institutions of all learning. And people, they go on learning. Nobody ever gets older and says, oh, I'm done living now. I'm done serving humanity now. So we start young and we never stop.
That's right.
And so that's my educational view. That's my income for all, and that's my freedom for all really plan, because that's how we get to exercise self-determination.
That's right.
Otherwise, the guy who is so determined to be a monk, so determined, no matter how much he made himself so determined, he could never live that reality.
That's
and
right.
so where's his freedom?
He gonna end up? What's gonna happen?
Lovers, they always, what they do is they forget the greed hell and they do their passion anyway. So the lovers end up on the streets and dead. I say it all the time. I've been saying it I've seen that truth so clear. I said, God, thank you for showing me that truth, because that's the truth that really shows you what everything is about. When you see people who give everything for everyone else, and yet they still die on the streets, I'd say that's the best in us dying. And then you have the greed hell bastards going by pointing at them, and they're laughing with their horns, and they're saying, lazy bum, that's what you get for not having a job, despite the fact that this guy, monk, perhaps, is living a life for humanity.
That's right.
Living a life giving
Living
back
for other people,
not
not
all
just
of them.
himself.
A lot of them have different, but this is the explanation
He's
for
not a
a
selfish
number of
person.
people. Yes, and it's people, even those who are in that hell, they have it in them to be this. They want they would prefer to be that, because that's where love is, than they would be anywhere else. People want to be recognized in humanity. I call it the human humdrum. That we want to be loved in humanity. We want to be cared for in humanity. We want to know that if we were weak, that our brethren was going to come and pick us up, and that ultimately we'll be okay. And that gives us a freedom feeling like no other.
That's right.
And so love's abundance solves, it serves, yes. And it solves, it serves, and it provides. And it never gets tired of doing that. Even if the individual gets tired, the collective is always at work.
That's right. Happy Healers never gives up.
Nope, never gives up.
He's going to keep on going. It's going to keep on getting
That's
bigger
right.
and better.
And there's so many wonderful happy healers, and I'm so proud of that.
That's right.
That's one thing I always talk about, are the number of people who have committed themselves.
The followers. They're coming in abundance.
That's right. They realize the hell that this really is.
And that we are in a critical time. And
right.
we need some happy healer to come and pick it up.
That's
and move
right.
it forward.
We need a happy healer to unite this country.
That's right.
We need somebody that has the ability to unite.
What is the old saying? Together we rise.
Right. Together we rise, or apart we fail and we die.
That's
and
right.
we suffer too. And so that's what some nefarious forces sadly would like to see happen to all of us. And that they're winning, Fred.
Yeah,
and that they're winning.
The battle.
Because right now...
And we don't want them to win it.
No, we're not going to let them. That's the one unknown. You know, one thing that Elizabeth Warren always says is, oh, I got a plan for that. Oh, I got a plan for that. Right. I said, oh, I don't think she has a plan for her happy healer. No, sir. She don't have a plan for the happy healer.
She's got her plan.
That's right. And it's the wrong plan.
Right.
And she says she knows about opiate addiction. I'm sorry. She's not going to get the respect of people who are going through that hell, so close to death, dying.
If she knew about it, then where is her view on it?
Right. Throwing hundreds of billions of dollars at it and hoping for the best. That's what I call it. It's the same thing they do with everything.
Companies are getting richer and bigger and richer and richer. Right. They provide and make the pills. Okay. You go to a doctor and you ask them for help. You know, I can't give them to you. So why are you making them?
Right.
If I can't get
People who need them can't get them, but then for some reason they're all out on the streets. People are dying.
You go to a doctor and you write down and you see the secretary, then you go in and the doctor, first time, hi, how you doing? And you say, how can I help you today? Well, I've got an opiate addiction. I need methadone. Can't help you. Sorry, sir. And
that's horrible. Yeah, that's so true.
By the shaking the hands out, he won't even look you in the eye.
Tell me what Elizabeth Warren knows about that hell when someone's trying to come back into the life, and that they don't. Here is the problem too. We used to drive all the time, every week. How often a week?
700 miles a week.
Oh my goodness. Coming to this location, how many bad things happen in that time? We already just talked about somebody who got ran over by a car. I mean, so it's not just the death that the drugs themselves are putting out, and I talk about this all the time. It's also the death of the life. It's not a life worth living, that they're taking it from people. And because they're spending, like he's spending 700 miles. That's gas money, that's time, and then once you arrive here, on average, you have, how long do you wait to get seen? To even get your dose?
Sometimes an hour, and then I spend another, money there too.
I've waited up to 2 hours.
Me too.
And then you got to pay your $16 fare.
And
this is how we're taking care of sick people, friends.
And then what does that average out to? $16. We're talking about what, $500 a month?
A month from people that are dying.
And you know what? Doesn't make a bit of sense is your insurance. Oh, we don't cover that.
Right.
Why you got insurance then?
Yeah, this is why people are dying. So if you're really committed to a solution for the opiate crisis, well, then you have to get behind somebody who's got brains, who can handle real issues, who knows that we need to come out of greed hell to get anything done. And then it just so happens that it also helps that person has been in that hell. That hell means something.
And they're not in denial. They're in reality now.
Right.
They're not saying, "Oh, I'm not an opiate addict. I didn't have no problem." They're saying they did have a problem.
Right.
They don't have a problem admitting
These are people ready to move into their new life, and that they're still dying. They can never make a break. They learned how to ask for help. There's so many people that have never even had a drug addiction that'll never know what it's like to become humble, because they just so perfect, but really they need to be humble. And yet there's so many of these other people who they've been so humbled, and yet that's not enough. They're still dying.
That's right.
It's shocking.
It's devastating.
And unbelievably unacceptable.
It is unacceptable, and we know that our great king won't accept that.
Right.
And he's not going to accept it. That's why there is, he's here. And he's going to be more visible as days go on.
Right.
It's just what you see of him.
I'd say each person, this is why you have to let that monk be a monk. You have to let the monk be a monk, because you never know. This could be our Jesus Christ. Look, if Jesus Christ ever showed up here, right, the first thing he would realize is before he could be Jesus Christ and live selfless, he would first have to get a job, work 40 to 80 hours a week. I mean, this is insanity. And then he would have to put up with everybody calling him a jobless loser and everything else for wanting to live a selfless life of love, giving back.
That's right.
And that
doesn't make a lot of sense.
And the gift that we were given in this time, Fred, was technology and robotics.
That's
the very ability to come out of our jobs and to let the technology take over on many of those monotonous, thankless jobs, so that we can have an income.
I think we're going in the right direction as far as knowledge and things go with internet and capability. People starting their own business online.
Right.
From their home.
Yeah.
From whatever.
That's
great to know that you can sit down by yourself,
and we want so many more of those people.
Of something that you could create a website on.
Right.
And next thing you know, but don't forget, when you become successful, use some of that and start a charity.
Right. And to be given back as you go. Figure out. Like I was looking at something I wanted to envelop myself into, because this is not a cheap endeavor, and unlike many of those condescending candidates, I've self-funded to the extent that I sold my house to do this. I have to think in almost ingenious ways to make the things that you see happening happen.
That's right.
And so the part of that is that and I forgot what I was saying right before that.
We were talking about when the camera fell, I kind of lost.
Yeah,
my
it's
train of
okay.
thought.
You're right. That's what happens.
But we're allowed to do that. That's part of life, you know.
You know, we get so passionate about this.
Yeah, we're excited about the movement.
And there's a lot that we're doing, and there's a lot that we're fighting against. So, you know, you take your eyes off the ball for just a moment, and then the whole thing goes tumbling down the hill,
That's right.
so to speak.
Well, you're always going to have that group that wants to feel like they're doing good, speaking against you. Oh, he's crazy, or he's not fit for this, or you know what? What the hell would we do with a president that was in recovery or is in recovery from opiate dependency?
And that
you would embrace him and say, this man's got to be good if he's able to run and look everybody in the eye and say, hey, I'm recovering from this problem, but I still got my feeling and passion and power to help you. If I'm in the White House, I want to make changes for everybody, not myself.
Well, that's the thing. You're not less than. I go right off the bat, Fred. I go right off the bat, and I do it every time. I'm no less than because I'm on a medication, just like you're no less than because of some of the ailments you undoubtedly have, or some of the imperfections you suffer from. Sometimes they're just not realizing you have them.
That's right.
And so, you know, then they say to me, what imperfections do I have? And I smile.
That's all you can do.
And so, you know, the reality of it is we just need a lover, we need a uniter. Somebody who realizes, a moment ago we were talking about people who, selflessness, and you were talking about people who have the opportunity to create wealth in this country and a job.
You talked about, he advocates for everybody, not himself. He's not even thinking about himself in any matter, shape, or
So here's
form.
what I was getting at. How can you marry the monk with the guy who wants to make money? Because ultimately in greed hell you need to, or you'll end up like the lovers who die on the streets.
That's right.
So, and you got to be selfless and give. Ultimately, that's what we want to do. We want to serve to that purpose. So because we want to serve to that purpose, we have to go to that other ugly thing too. But how do we make this all come together? And so the way I view it, and the way that I'd like to see more people do, is that when you serve through your passions to make money, but not for greed hell, you're doing it in a way that's helping people, and that is indeed what your passion is, ultimately, then that you're served back by doing that in multitudes of ways and in compounding ways. That's how God works. That's how God's love works. So that when you're working for that, you end up getting more, not less, more, so that you're more empowered to do more. And so that's the part that's the part that I'm so proud of when I see people that are working in that direction. Also, people that they'll make a sacrifice. This life is a sacrificial life. Just like our great Jesus.
Right.
And the truth is, this life, if you're not willing to make any kind of sacrifice, then you're not going to have anything.
No.
And that, ultimately speaking, I feel so strongly about that because that's where we're going to be able to do these big things for each other.
It's just like, my son was talking to me a while, I guess it was about a week or so ago, and he was talking about, I think they were doing something, and he said something about, hey, you know what was great? Man, I came in second. And I said, that is good, but there's a problem with that. And you know what the problem about second is? That only means you were the first one to lose.
Right.
Think about that.
That's right.
Second only means you were the first one to lose.
That's right. You got to go for number one.
It still ain't good enough. You
right.
got to go for
You always got, and in passion, that's what I say is we're always working our hardest for the right reasons. We're not doing it just for recognition. We're doing it because we actually care.
Yes,
and so that's how we get served back. Because the better and more successful we are at the business that we choose, we define that not by the money that's coming into the bank, but we define that by how good we can do, how much better we can do, how successful we are at the things we love doing. And when that money comes in, how much more enabled we are to do more of that and to become better at doing that. And so that's what I really see as being the crown jewel in all of this, because when people live their life in a way that makes a sacrifice for the fact that they don't want to chase money, really. They would rather be going after the love.
Yes.
But that you're not permitted. You're not really free.
That's right.
You're not free to do that stuff. So you learned how to turn greed hell up on its head.
You can
and
do
that
it.
You,
And everybody can do it.
That's right. And so that when you take from the greed hell, because all greed hell knows about is taking from love.
That's
but
right.
that when you take from the greed hell, you give it back to love. There is something so powerful about that in this world.
Strong.
So, my goodness, so strong. And that there's a supernatural power and strength that it's completely incompatible with that hell, and it's all loving and all God. And so it's a beautiful thing to say on a Sunday.
That's
for
right.
people who are so in tune with going to church and realizing their
higher
faith,
power.
and that there is a higher power, and that I'm very spiritual. I realize
That's
that
a good thing.
that is a good thing, and I'm very open-minded.
I think a lot of people are, and they're just afraid to admit or say it's for fear that somebody might down them or their family might
Right.
look at them and go, well, you were born a Catholic. What do you mean you believe into the Jehovah's Witnesses way?
Right.
Well, if you do that, then you're out of the family, or you can't have your trust fund.
Yeah,
or you can't
this
have
is
this.
ridiculous.
So that means
that's
your
not
view
freedom.
or your morals and what you created in your mind for yourself. Like I know you do, and I did. I have morals, certain things.
Right.
Like
The truth matters.
I don't mind giving out this information as a moral. I'm not going to sleep with a woman like I did when I was
Right.
in my 20s and 30s just to sleep with them.
Right, it's got
I
to
would
be a
not-
certain something.
It,
Yes.
it has to mean something.
Right.
And then if it's not going to lead
Love
to
matters.
something, then I'm not going to do it just for pleasure.
Right.
Not anymore.
Love matters.
That's like taking
People
advantage
matter.
of somebody.
Yeah.
Because then what happens when the female or the male or whatever it could be says, I think I'm falling in love, and you said, wait, but I didn't tell you to do that.
That's
so
right.
They get mad. They feel scorned or rejected.
You
Now
know,
they
that's an
hate you.
interesting topic, because I myself am a gay man, and I bring people together. There's a lot of my supporters who supported Trump before they supported me, and then there's a lot that supported the Democrats. So the Democrats love me for their reasons. The Republicans and conservatives love me for their own reasons.
Right.
But I get to be me through the whole process. So they're all in the
Everybody's gotta be
same
their own,
room. That's the thing I love most. I have rooms, but they become one, and that's the unity we need.
Right.
Because I could actually bring people that were once before kind of almost in the bigoted realm to a whole different way of thinking, because now they met someone like me. That was important for their discovery.
That's right.
And for their journey. And that I recognize that. And that I represent the gay community, turns out, in a completely different way they
nothing
never
wrong with
seen
that,
before.
And I used to be one of those people that thought, a hater against people that were different creeds, colors. The same thing with same-sex marriages. But I started to realize, what? That's not my
Enlightenment. You got better.
I'm not. Let me see how I can say it.
I know how real this is for you, because I've heard you talk.
I wasn't put here to judge anybody.
That's right.
I'm no better than anybody.
Nope.
I just accept your ways. But I'm my way. I am a straight male, which is nothing wrong with. But that doesn't mean I can't get along with somebody that has their ways.
I admire that. I admire
what I
that
mean?
you said that you have had faults, but that you have also gotten over them.
Of
And
course
I know
have.
how
I
real
realize
they
it.
are.
Yeah.
I know how real that you're getting over them is too,
glad
because
I
the
did
first
get
thing
over
you
them.
said inside was about how passionate you are about feeding people who are hungry in other countries, less fortunate, different colors.
That's right.
And that, to me, shows me your heart and your aptitude for enlightenment.
And I'm so glad that I was able to sit myself down. And it took a third reading of the Bible to realize, oh my God, I'm so wrong. And I felt so ashamed of myself. I said, I got to make a change.
Yes.
I've got to be able to say, listen, what anybody wants to do with their life, I'm not here to judge them. I can be friends with them. I can accept it.
Right.
I can hang out with them and understand it.
That's right.
There's somebody else that does that.
That's right.
And that's Jesus Christ and his Father.
That's right.
I'm not here for that.
And I believe that we
And I'm
are.
glad I can look at everybody and accept everybody for being human.
That's right, and I love that too. And actually, to me, I'm almost. Not only do I love it, I like it. I like it.
That's right.
I like it that we can have these opportunities of where we weren't doing well, but then that we came. It goes back to life is not about always succeeding. sometimes it is about falling and then
Yeah.
coming back up stronger.
That's right.
You're built stronger and you're better off for it. Now you're the teacher.
That's
now
right.
you're going back saying, hey guys, boys and girls,
That's right.
come over here.
Yep.
We got a lesson for you. You got to learn this. And that in teaching, you're successful because you've been there.
That's right.
Because that's so important to the story. And that's where they're not going to be successful with these opiate addicts and with any of
Yep.
these addicts, because they come from a condescending point. You could choose whatever condescending candidate you want. They all virtually give us hell with no chance of unity.
You know what
That's
I thought
the
about,
scary part.
Not interrupt you or be rude, but you know what I've thought about would be helpful, and I don't know. I think they're headed this way with the opiate program. Is I think the thought of putting machines on the street, like, you know, have you ever seen a OTB, off-track betting thing, where you can go in and gamble? It's a locked-in room, closed off. They have them in New York or whatever.
Yes.
Well, they should have those for opiate dependency.
Right.
Like almost like Red Box or Blue Box.
Right.
Instead of having to go into a clinic or go into a doctor,
Yeah.
you should be able to walk down the street like a soda machine and put your ID in there and pay for it if it happens.
Right, like if you're going through that particular problem and you're a patient for this already, that you should have to you an option that doesn't always require racing within a 2-hour window that gets you killed.
Thank you. And having a time frame put on everything.
Right.
You got to be over there at 5. Tomorrow you got to be there at 6. You only have till 10. You only have till 11. And then you either get there or you have to go late in the afternoon, but you can't tell anybody for fear that your job will be lost or your family will disown you for it.
Right. So, Fred, what do you think about Happy Force One? She's a mighty beast, isn't she?
She's beautiful.
I love her.
I think that she's awesome, and I think that this is going to propel.
Oh man, I love it, and I love the challenge, in particularly of making everything work. And so when we were talking about what I want to do for, you know, an income stability and different things for my life, that I've always done business and I've always been very good at it when I do it, but that it's important to me to do for the money.
Right.
That's not for me. It doesn't work. It doesn't work.
And I'm not saying it's wrong. It could work for some people, and if it does, that's okay. Go with it.
Yeah.
But it doesn't necessarily work for me either. I mean,
Right.
I need it, of course, to pay bills, but
Yeah, of course.
I'm not putting my whole life out there
No.
for money.
Right, because you realize the value of your soul and the value of your purpose and experiences.
That's right.
And that matters more.
I don't put a price on human life.
Yeah. So what ultimately I am looking at is I've learned stuff, man. I have to learn about it. The same way I learned about drones. I'm one of the best pilots, people, and they know who they are, and they know, you know who you are, and that you love the flying, you love the videos. People that are on the top of their game in the drone industry, that they come to me and say, and they're impressed by my ability and talent.
Right.
And here I am, just a happy healer running for president. They're doing it for a living, and that I just do it for a passion, but yet I'm getting their respect and platitudes. And so I'm really proud of that. And I take that on this journey. Every talent that I have, I take on this journey. Mm-hmm. I've been in the bus industry for 20 years. I know all about buses, the inside and the outside and backwards and forward.
What you were telling me about it is incredible.
And
how
it's
you knew
just
about the motor and how the generator will it'll supply 3 houses with electricity. That's just unbelievable.
We have to be ready to work for the Happy Healer, love of truth and happiness.
And you have become prepared.
That's
You're
right.
ready for your journey.
This is a mighty beast, and she is most certainly ready. And you see Superman back there has American flag. He's ready to go. He's holding it, ready to plant it into the truth, justice, and American way. That's right.
Right at the Oval Office.
And so I'm loving it there. I'm loving it, Fred.
There you go,
and
man.
I just won't stop working for that.
And I know there's a lot of people behind Happy Healers, and there's
more
people behind you.
Let's do it. And I want your help in that. Absolutely.
You got my help all
and
the
that
way.
I want your help. I want all of us to build on it and to bring our friends and to really work for this future. And as we're coming into the different cities and states, that you should be involved in going to the rallies. Remember, we're doing the speeches on the top, Fred. It's so amazing.
That's right.
We bring our own electricity. We bring our own stage. We bring our own Happy Healer candidacy for president, and we bring the right ideas and love.
That's
So, speaking of the right ideas, I am so passionate about, building this beast of a machine. She's amazing and has so many capabilities that other people want to be able to do this, but they don't know where to begin. They don't know how to begin. They don't know what to begin, but that your Happy Healer knows.
Right.
And so that I can help people. And so that could be a completely different avenue.
Of
course, free information, tell them how to do it.
That's
and then,
right.
of course, on the side, paid for doing it for them.
That's
and
right.
so this is a way to help build on to energy independence. And by the way, you don't have any freedom at all if you're not energy independent.
This is true.
This is so true in life. It's hard to have freedom when you're constantly locked to just one place and you can't move about.
Or
you
locked
can't
in, so to speak.
mentally,
Right.
mainly,
And physically.
and physically. You know, the thing is, we've become so used to our creature comforts. It's hard for us to leave home when we're so happy at home. We have everything we need at home. Why go anywhere? And that's
couch potatoes.
yeah, and that's a lot of what people are dealing with. But the happy
some people
force
feel
one.
like, you know, that safe haven of being home, then they don't have to deal with anything outside of that.
I get that. And you know, that's a dangerous world. If your insides are telling you stay home above all else,
Some
don't
people
leave.
get scared of going out.
I understand that. And that the bad
They
things
see
are out
everything
there.
happen out on the
yeah.
streets, and they're like, "Whoa, I don't want to get involved."
No,
You know,
they
so
just
they
need to get
What
right.
do? They run to the store, they get gasoline, they get their cigarettes, or they get whatever they need.
Right.
They go home, they lock up the doors, they turn on the TV,
And they're done.
And
Yeah.
they don't even answer the door.
Right. They're just
They
MIA.
might answer their phone, maybe,
Yeah.
or if they think you're outside and you're calling, they'll turn that phone
Look
off.
at the insanity of the world, you know?
Yeah,
I
man.
just
Some
can't
people
even blame them.
But you
It's
can't.
bad.
They start seeing all the bad things.
Yeah.
And they start going, well,
They get scared. It's
yeah,
fear.
they see
so
that
they need to get
in
over
their
their fear to
mind,
do
what
better.
they're seeing is the bads outweighing the good.
Right. It's
So they
that's
don't wanna,
the times
they
we
don't
live in.
think that their good can help outweigh the bad. So the best way to just stay away from it to
Right.
do what? Stay enclosed.
Right.
Become a hermit.
Right. And
Yeah,
I had to do that. Doing that, I was actually doing a lot of things. It wasn't so much about avoiding. I needed my own safe space
Okay.
because I was working towards a lot of information. I was doing so much meditation and learning about things and dealing with the addiction and the crisis from the world that they present to us and that we have to live in. That's where I learned all of these things, to even preach about them, to speak about them, to
That's
know
good
about them. So to me, it was all part of
Knowledge
the
is
journey.
power, right?
Yeah, oh yes. And that's why I say, you know, even though it seems like, okay, I was a hermit then, it seems bad, but because it brought me to such a great place, it was needed. It was part of my story.
There you go.
And I think that now that gives me enlightenment to know that other people need sometimes a moment so that they could think, so that they can work and process things,
That's right.
so that they can make sense of the world. It's so important to us in order to have a life worth living, in order to be happy and content, that we understand why things are the way they are, especially when they're so bad and they make so little sense and there's so much death, and you have to just wonder to the very nucleus, why are things the way they are? And so that's what your Happy Healer has done, learning so much about death and people he loves dying. And so it brought me to truths that I never would have been able to come to if I was being consistently bombarded with the hell that was bombarding everybody else.
Right.
I had to remove myself from that picture
Step
and
out
to
of
go
the-
into the magical world of the Happy Healer. And so I went into my own magical world. And then when this bus was conceived, the magical world came with me. And so right now you're within the confines of not only Happy Force One, but the magical world of the Happy Healer.
Amen.
And I love it. I love it. It's the Happy Healer world of truth, justice, and organization of happiness, and going the extra matter,
There you go.
and that they have value and purpose in this
I
life.
agree with you 100%.
In something that
It's-
ultimately it means something that your creator really.
Well,
that's
you-
where
you-
faith. It comes to
You
faith.
want your life.
Yes.
I really think
How much they really meant. I think that they would do things differently. How
change
can
is
you-
good sometimes.
Yes. And
Some
that,
people get stuck and think they're feared of it.
right.
Of what that change is going to do because they haven't seen it yet. So they figure, well, instead of going towards change. I'm familiar with this. This is working. I'll settle for it. I won't go for anything higher up.
Right.
I'll just stay where I'm at because I'm comfortable there.
And it's no good.
And they don't get to succeed or find the passion or what's really behind what they want to do and what motivates their life.
It's unbelievable.
And what they want to succeed in.
And we all should have that ability, Fred.
Yeah.
I'm so elated though that a lot of people are getting it still. Even though that many people are lost, there's still so many more that are teachable, that are open, that are willing to hear. Even they might not know everything, but that just that they're willing to hear and that they're receptive to the message, it brings me hope. And now, folks, I don't know if you're still with us or not, but I'm just noticing off to the corner of my eye here that our connection is really awful for this moment. So I'm going to go ahead and end this segment, and we might be back on here in a little bit. But Fred, either way,
okay,
it's great to have you on.
Thank you very much.
And
very nice to be here, and I'm at you, and
right,
I'm a backer of Happy Healers. And all you all out there, hey, this is a great chance, great opportunity for everybody to get involved with Happy Healers and get us.
And
get
to
him
support
propelled
the
into the
candidacy.
Oval Office.
You got it.
And get
that's getting us all there.
Yeah.
That's it.
It'll
We
make
got
the
to
world
take
a
one
better
of us. Yeah, we got to take one of us. Can't be a fool. We
No.
got to be strong, and we got to have a good, fast thinker. Somebody that is going to be able to hand the condescending candidate some truth in the process. And so I know that we can do all those things.
That's a
and
good thing.
if, the better that we can help enlighten other people.
That's right.
Our signal's a little bit better now, so maybe we can hang on. But ultimately what we do when we have this problem is we shut things down and then we can come right back on even. But that we shut this one down, sometimes that improves it.
Yeah.
But, and that's what we'll do here, because I've seen it even went back to orange. So folks, and Fred, thank you for coming on.
Thank you very much for having me here. God
yes,
bless you.
sir. Absolutely. And folks, we'll be back in a moment, possibly, seeing how well I can get this system going. And that's it. The devil is all around us. And that's, of course, just another way that the devil's hell is creeping up in our world, the world of love, and trying to throw us off task. But no, we're always focused. And even where you don't think we're working hard, well, look what sprang up before you. We have Happy Force One here, the Happy Healer, ever stronger, moving towards the future that we all crave.
Amen.
And we're doing it with help. So we'll be back in a bit.